Now, as I understand, I am the last one between you and your lunch. So I need to be brief. And secondly, I understand also our audience have some students. So this is a story for you. It's for the future of Pakistan and for everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the critical role of science and technology, especially higher education, in future blue economy. Now, before we start, let's talking about the ocean. You say, oh, what a big deal. Of course I know the ocean. But do you know how much water we have on the surface of the ocean? Not that much. If we have a huge machine to suck all the water out on the surface of the earth, that's all we have. So we have water on ocean is very limited. It's huge in area, but it's very little in volume. So that's a key point. Especially if we look at the fresh water, that's even less. The green ball on the top is fresh water, and then compared to the moon. So what does that mean? Means the value of water on Earth is very important for us, but it's very, very little. Especially the water we can use is that tiny, tiny green ball on the bottom. Right, then you say, Professor Lin, that's all the water we have? No, we have about 7 or 8 times of this water, but inside the earth, in terms of minerals. So we only get those through volcano eruption, which we don't have very frequent. Now, the other issue, of course, is the ocean is connected. We only have one ocean. Means if we pollute it in, say, Karachi, someone's going to get the pollution sometime later. It will take about 7,000 years for all the ocean to recycle once. Very short time, only 7,000 years. So we need to deal with the ocean issue globally, not locally. Now, today I'm going to share with you 3 points. Number one, I'm going to share with you what is the global marine power. And secondly, talk very briefly about these emerging industries, right? And that's where the money is going to be made. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk about why it's very important we have high-tech innovation, higher education, as well as investment. Innovation, education, and investment. Those 3 things going to change China, going to change Pakistan and other countries for the blue economy. In terms of the maritime cities, as we know, the largest maritime city is Singapore. Singapore has the largest port in terms of containers. But many cities now in China also has a very large port in terms of container. I only list 3 countries. These are we call the superpowers in its own way. The United States, where I stayed for 40 years as a student and then as a professor at the MIT and Woods Hole, is still the science and technology superpower. That is very clear. Singapore is a leading maritime capital city globally, but UK is also very important because UK has an important role in shipping and law, especially finance. In terms of key sectors, we all know some of these are our, you can see in the slides here, marine fishery. Now, if you are a student, you say, oh, fishery, my grandparents have been doing fishery. But you are only halfway right. Today's fishery is very different. The future fishery, we are going to use tons, the huge containers to do the fishery in the open ocean. So you need to be highly educated to do the fishery in the future. And of course, we know the wind powers and others. I'm not going to talk about these. Now, next, I'm going to introduce to you briefly about China's blue economy. The marine GDP in China in 2021 was 1.3 trillion US dollars. It's a huge economy. And out of this, and you can see that, let's see. Next, okay. So among the growth of this, but it's not even. The largest growth, as you see here, is marine power, wind power. Wind power is extremely powerful in China. The many coastal cities, this grows by 30%, 30. So it's incredibly strong in growth. And also, in terms of city, the largest marine GDP is in Shanghai, is 147 billion US dollars. It's huge. And in terms of province, just like you have province here, Guangdong province in southern China has a GDP of 293 billion US dollars. So it's very important. It presents about 20% of the national marine product, about 16% of the regional GDP. So if you say the blue economy is important, just look at this. Look at the city of Shenzhen, for example. It has 44 billion US dollars, and the goal is to double it, to double the blue economy in a few years. Next, please. So in terms of the emerging marine industries, as we know that there are things like gas, right? Hydrocarbon, gas hydrates is very important. And also mineral deposits are very important. Of course, with the carbon neutralization, the sequestration of this is also very important. So these are all the future. So if you are a young scientist, if you are a young student, you need to pay attention to these major issues. And then I already mentioned wind powers and also biomedicines is going to be important for the future. And finally, I'm going to just say a few words. If you are a young student today, as you might be in Barahi or you might in University of Karachi, which I both visited about 5 years ago. And I would say the high tech, higher education, and the investments are extremely important for the future. And here I'm showing you an example of what has been developed in Shenzhen. There are 13 drums. They work together. They can do any form of sampling. So they like a dragonfly, they will go down and take samples and they will go back. So you say, what a big deal. Why is it important? Because that means we can sample one location anywhere on the coastlines, unmanned, 24 hours a day. And think about that for the future. And then also for the ocean depths, we can use these gliders. Gliders can go out for about a year or so without recharge. So in the future, the coastal lines of McCranes and others will have these gliders and it's going to do the job for you. And finally, I'm going to say, okay, you say, Professor Jian Lin, but that's too far away from me. But I would say not too far away. Because if you are a student now, then you will need to be aware of these issues. And then I'm going to show you, here's a picture of Shenzhen, a part of Shenzhen. The city is now building an ocean university called the Shenzhen Ocean University. I am the head of the person building that. This year, we are going to invest $1 billion US dollars on campus just to make the buildings. But once we have the campus, of course, it's important we have professors, we are going to attract professors globally from US, Europe, anywhere. But we also like to attract students, including students from Pakistan. Because the students in Pakistan, I know many of them. You are the future of Pakistan. So if we can, we will provide opportunities for you to study either there or here. And finally, we hope that by doing this, we are going to transform Shenzhen into a city like Boston. I stayed in Boston for 40 years. And you can see the MIT play a major role because it's only educate students, but also change the industry. About 50% of the industry around Route 128 were by MIT professors and students. Think about that. If in Pakistan, one day, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you have a city which have high manpower, and then that's going to change Pakistan for good. This is a beautiful university that we are doing right now, we are building right now. So finally, I would like to appreciate the help of my Pakistan partners, especially Dr. Ashraf Anand, who was the former DG of NIO, National Institute of Oceanography. We came here in 2017 for the first time, but 2018 we brought the ship, Chinese ship here. 5 years on now, we have some even newer ship, and then we hope that we'll also bring here, but it's even more important for you to build a ship, because that's your science, your oceanography, and your future. And this is my last slide. So I will propose that we do two things. I will propose to our honorary senator that we should work together to really to educate the next generation of Pakistani scientists and students. That's the future of Pakistan. Myself, 40 years ago, was a graduate student in the US. You see, now I learned how to do things. I went back to China to help China. We have a lot of young scientists here, young students here. You can do the same. And secondly, I would like to propose to the admirals that we should sign new agreement with NEMA, because we can specifically help NEMA and the students here. So with that, and I would say that with high tech, higher education and investments, we can lead the future of blue economy in China and in Pakistan. Thank you very much.